Yep, I can start. Okay, and my screen is being shared. Okay, good. So welcome everyone to this session about Docker. But before that, I would like to thank all the Joomlers present at Joomla Day DACH, and especially to all the organizers of this best event. I was there in person the last years. This year I could not make the trip, but still I'm happy to be allowed to make a couple of sessions today. Um, this session is about Docker, and the idea is to show how easy it is to set up a local Joomla website when you're using Docker. Maybe you're using other tools, right? WAMP, LAMP, I don't know all the names. But actually, once you start using Docker, the nice thing is that you can enrich your local environment as you wish just by typing one line in a little configuration file. But also, once you know this technique, you can try and test anything. For example, quite recently, I played a lot with automation tools. So tools like Zapier, Make.com, etc. And for example, there is one that you can install on your own server, which is called N8N. And I was like, oh, now that I know Docker, I can install it locally. Otherwise, it would not have been the case if I was using a classical tool to set up a local environment. So the funny thing is that I'm saying I'm not an expert in Docker, really, compared to real experts in Docker. I'm not an expert, but it's the whole point. Even for a newbie that I was, Christophe Aventure initiated me to that. And then every time I was asking new questions, oh yeah, but then I want, is it possible to do that as well? Or I also want PHP MyAdmin, or I also want to do this and that. So every time he was guiding me, hey, look, just two extra lines here and you're done. So actually, if you go to slides.wordweb.be, you will find all my presentations, and one of the recent ones is Docker. If you click there, you will see the full presentation. So, as you will see, for a newbie, eventually I've written a lot about it, but don't be afraid. It's just to show that easy. Maybe you just need 5 lines of my whole presentation, but I explain everything in detail, every use case, every example. So let's start with a start. To use Docker, you need to install Docker. Here I'm on Linux, Ubuntu, but it does not matter. Docker works on Mac, on Windows, and obviously on Linux. So the first thing you need to do is to install Docker. To start with, we will use Docker Desktop. So I don't explain how to install, even if in my presentation there is a section about installing Docker Desktop with additional information. But okay, it's quite straightforward. So you just install Docker Desktop, and as you can see, we have a nice screen which is at the moment almost empty. So what do we need to do? Let's go to the presentation and see the step-by-step thing. Actually, we are saying go to the official image for Joomla on the Docker website. So there is an official place called hub.docker.com. And if you go there, /_/Joomla is the official Joomla page on for Docker. If it's your first time, don't be afraid. You don't even need to read or to understand, right? All you need to see is this little uh, configuration file. It's the format is called YAML, YAML, YAML. And all you need to do is to copy that. So you could select it and copy it. But even better, there is a nice copy button over there. So I don't have to understand. That's a nice thing. I just copy. Then on my computer, um, here I am in my projects. Let's create a new folder, live, one, GDay, GD25 DACH. Okay, I create a new folder. As you can see, as magicians do, you see it's empty. It's fresh, it's empty. There, I want to create a file. So it does not matter how you do it. Here, for example, I could just say, I want to create a new document. But this document, I will call it compose.yaml, right? I call it compose.yaml and I open it and I copy the code that I don't even need to understand. I just save it and basically that's it. Because now what I will do is to, I need to go to the terminal. So I open this folder in my terminal in Ubuntu. Okay, very easy. I just do this and open in terminal. So according to your operating system, of course, you open the terminal the way you want. And here it's handy because I'm directly in the right folder. And then I just have to launch a command. And this command is explained here. I should a little bit further. Okay, here, as you can see, it's Docker. We are calling Docker. Compose up because we want the website to be up. And then detach, which is an option to make it, let's say, independent. So if I copy paste this, I copy and I paste this. And there are two ways to write detach. Here it's explicit, dash dash detach, but you could make it shorter and just type dash D for the experts, right? To make it shorter. If I do this, well, it has done something. Again, I don't even need to understand if I don't know what it means. But now, if I go to my browser and I type localhost 8080, I see nothing. No, yes, actually, good joke. It was launched, but it can be according to your computer how fast it is. That it takes 1 second or 5 seconds or maybe 10 seconds, but as you see, it works. Um, so this is a fresh website, and let's see if I go in the administrator. Then you would say, hey, but how do I know the login and the password? Well, actually, let's go back to the compose YAML file because everything is detailed there. If I open it, right now it's opening in Visual Studio Code. It does not matter which editor you are using, of course. So here, let's look for the user. We see that there is a variable called Joomla site name, Joomla. Okay, oh yes, here, Joomla admin username. It's Joomla. And the password is Joomla secured. So actually, before launching my website, my Docker Compose up dash D, I could have changed the username and the password to make it mine. So here, let's try this. So I was saying it's Joomla and then Joomla add secured login. Yeah, it works. And I have the nice little Joomla tour made by especially Olivier and Chiriel, who are in the room now. So a round of applause for them. But I don't need a tour right now. Okay, so let's see the front end. Okay, just to show that I will edit the template just to show you that all what we do is saved in the sense that if tomorrow I launch it again, all my work won't be lost. It's not every time a fresh website. So here, let's suppose I say, not a logo, first demo at JD25 dash. Okay, and color theme alternative, for example. Okay, I refresh. So this is indeed the website I'm working on. Now, let's suppose my day is finished and I want to leave my computer. Maybe I want to turn everything down so that it does not consume memory. So here I've launched it with Docker Compose up dash detach. But if I just change this to down, it's turning everything down. So now if I refresh my website, it's not answering anymore, right? But I have more memory on my computer. Docker is not running anymore. And I could turn off the Docker. Yeah, I could turn off the Docker desktop application, right? And here I see that in the volumes, because I have different things, containers, images. Images is because it's not the first time I'm using Docker. So every time I say, hey, install a new Joomla 6 website, it does not need every time to reload Joomla 6. That's the images. It has once, 1 month ago, downloaded Joomla 6. So it is still there. And if I want to install a new Joomla 6 website, it does not have to download it anymore. And in the volumes, actually, I see that everything I've done, the database, and also the Joomla, so DB data and Joomla data, well, I see it takes space on my computer, so it's still there, even if I'm not running it. So if I go to bed, we are the next day, and I get up and I want to work again on my website, I just go to the terminal, I launch again Docker Compose up detach, and I see that it is started. And let's go back to the browser. Now, if I refresh, yeah, I've not lost my work. We still have the purple template with the first demo title that I typed earlier. Now, let's suppose that this was for a test, and I say, okay, I've done what I wanted to do. I turn it off. Good. It's off. But technically, it is still taking some space on my computer. I see 200 megabyte for the DB and 72 megabytes for the Joomla data. So really, if I know that I will never use it again, I could click on the delete button on the trash icon here, and now I've gained some space on my computer. Actually, when I first learned Docker, I was using Docker Desktop, but very soon I realized that I did not really need it because there are two ways to install it: either with the interface Docker Desktop, but you can also install Docker Engine, which is just the same Docker but without the interface. And actually, unless you're doing weird things or working, I don't know, hundreds of projects at the same time and you want to have a visual interface, actually, you don't even need the desktop version. You can just use the Docker engine. Then I don't even need to open a software, right? When my computer boots, it loads Docker engine automatically. So this will be, oh no, before showing Docker engine, I will make another example because, yeah, here I've deleted it, but I think it was not Joomla 6, right? Did somebody check? I think it was Joomla 5 dot something, right? So let's see how we could select our version. Again, I go back to the hubdocker.com website, and I see that a little bit up on the on the page, I see that there are different versions that I can call, and there are synonymous, right? If I type latest, it will be the latest Joomla version. If I type 6 or 6.0, etc., at the moment they are synonymous. They are on the same line. So actually, now if I go back to my folder, let, let's suppose it's a fresh folder, a fresh everything, because anyway, I have already uninstalled my stuff. But here, image, I was just saying Joomla in general. So it has taken some default value. It was Joomla 5. Now, if I would want to have Joomla 6, I would just type semicolon 6 or whatever value I see here, right? Um, I can save it. Now that it's saved, I go back to my terminal. Have I closed it? Yeah, maybe. Um, I open my terminal and I run it again. Okay, and let's check that. In my browser, let's open the backend. Okay, it's ready. The login, I've saved it to make it more comfortable. And now it's Joomla 6, right? Or I could have said 5.4. It amounts to the same. So I can even choose my version very easily. Before going further, let me show the presentation because the next step, once we have seen, okay, I can launch Joomla and the version of Joomla that I want. The next step will be to say, example 2, yeah, persistence. So yeah, persistence is the fact that I'm not losing my job when I come back the next day, right? Everything is saved. Now, let's suppose I wanted to, um, here we have shown this. If I want a specific Joomla version, I can specify it. But maybe what I want to test, my own hosting company is not using MySQL 8, it's using MariaDB. So if I want to say, yeah, I want this, my local environment to be the same as my production environment with my hosting company, I can say, oh, you know what? I will change the MySQL 8.0 by MariaDB 10.5.26 or whatever. So this is happening just in the compose YAML. If I look for MySQL, so I could just replace this by another value, right? As long as it exists in the Docker world, it will work automatically. I could also, sometimes you would say, yeah, I want to upload a big file, but the maximum upload file size is limited, blah, blah, blah. Well, actually, you can create a php.ini file just next to your compose YAML file, and you put the limit that you want, like here, 500 megabytes. And then you would add one little line in your compose YAML file to declare this php.ini file. And that's it. So actually very easy to have a custom environment. The next thing was that, oh yeah, maybe you want to have PHP MyAdmin because you're having the database with MariaDB. Okay, good. But maybe you want to have PHP admin to play directly because, I don't know, maybe you disabled in your test, you disabled a backward compatibility plugin, and then it broke your website and you want to have access to the database directly via an interface being PHP MyAdmin. So in that case, all we need to do again is to take this example. So we add the PHP MyAdmin service. So in the lines there, where is it? Yeah, here, PHP MyAdmin. So the hashtag is a way to make comments in the file. So If you want to make your own comments to remind you, oh, don't forget to do this or this does that, okay, you can add your comments. So here we just add a few lines. Again, you don't have to understand them. You just copy paste my examples and it will work out of the box. But so you can also add PHP main min. Then the next step, here actually, as you were seeing, um, all the files are persistent. I can see them in, um, I can see all the files here. But if I wanted to edit them, it's less comfortable. If you're using Virtual Studio Code, VS Code, you can add little add-ons which allow you to access directly the files within Docker. Uh, so it's a way to do it. But most of the time, what I prefer is to really have all the files physically on my computer and not having to go via my editor and to have to enter the Docker image itself. So let's see how to do that. I go to the presentation. Where is it here? So if I want all my file as the Joomla data and the DB data. So the Joomla data are all the Joomla files, PHP, etc. And the DB data is the folder which will contain the database. So let's follow the steps. Let's create a new folder, a new project. So here, I create a new folder and I call it JD25 dash with files. The name does not matter, of course. I open it. By the way, here I can open my terminal and a little tip, if you type code space, what do you call that? Point, no, in English, dot, yeah. Actually, it opens VS Code directly in the right folder. So that's another way to create my compose YAML file. So here, if I click on this icon, I can say that I want to create a compose YAML file. Okay, then I can directly paste what I want there. I go back to my presentation. Let's copy. Oh, I also have a copy button there. So I take the copy button and I paste it here. I will specify Joomla 6 here. Oh, sorry, not there. I was too quick. It's the image, the Joomla here, Joomla 6, right? Yeah, and actually, there are a few things which have changed in that file, like we are not using the volumes anymore, but we have declared explicitly the link between my physical folder, my computer, and what Docker will use. You don't need to understand at this point, so I just save it. I just need, okay, in this case, I will create the folders beforehand myself. Otherwise, the system will do it itself, but I'm on Linux, so Linux is very touchy about who's the owner of a folder, etc. So here I create it in advance so that I am the owner of those folders. So it was DB data, if I recall correctly, and not within DB data, and here Joomla data. Right. So if I go back in my folder, I've created the file and the two folders within VS Code, but you can create it directly here, like new folder. I could have created it like that. The way does not matter. Now, in my in my terminal. Now let's this time instead of typing docker compose up d, this time I don't want to use docker desktop anymore. I will use my Docker engine. So without the interface. So just to show you, I can even close Docker desktop. Okay. So to do this, I want to do it as a super administrator of my computer. So I add sudo saying that I launch this command as God on my computer. So if I do this, yeah, it's asking for my password, and I've missed something. Wait. Gosh. Or maybe I forgot. Wait, is the website still running there? Oh, yeah, that's it. My fault. I forgot to turn off the other website. So which folder was it? Was it this one? Yeah. Okay. So maybe it's a good thing that I made this mistake. Actually, of course, I can. I also explained this in the presentation. Of course, I could run simultaneously 5 websites, but then in my compose YAML file, I would have to change the port to say, okay, this one is on 8080, the other one is on 8081, this next one is on 8082, etc. So hopefully now, yeah, now it works. Um, let's see if it has done what it should have done. Yeah, now if I open, so if you remember, I created those 2 folders a few minutes ago and they were empty, obviously. And now if I open them, I see indeed that I have everything directly on visible on my computer, not via a Docker tool or whatever. And this will be handy if I want to copy paste my images or whatever. Let's see now what it gives if I go to localhost. Okay, I have a website running and it's not purple anymore, right? Because that's my fresh website. Um, administrator, and again Joomla and Joomla at secure because I did not change the default thing. Again, it's a Joomla 6 website, so I close this. Okay. Um, let's check the media folder. And you see that we have 2 Joomla images there. Let's make a test. I go here and in the images here, let me remove those 2 images. Okay, directly on the computer. If I refresh here, wow, it's gone. So actually, maybe I will even remove the demo images on my computer. I refresh, hey, all the folders have gone. So now, let's suppose I'm in Joomla and I create a new folder, demo Joomla dash. I create a new folder, and if I upload an image, I don't know what kind of image do I have. I upload a screenshot. Okay. And if I go here, oh, the folder has been created. And if I open it, I see the screenshot. And the other way around. Let's suppose I go on my computer. Let's suppose I take more screenshots here from this computer. And I paste that in this folder. I go back to Joomla. Right, I see all the files. So this is very handy because now here I'm showing it with images, but of course, the typical example is that you would like to, you are creating an override, you are coding something, an extension, whatever. Here you have direct access to all the files, so you could open it directly or via VS Code and edit your thing, save, and you can test it live in your local environment. Um, so we have already done a lot. Example five was, I just mentioned it, but you could have simultaneous website just by adapting in the compose YAML file the port on which you have them. Also, sometimes you would like to not to install a fresh website, but to install a backup that you've taken, for example, with Akiba Backup, so a JPA, because of Joomla Pack, the original name. So yeah, you could put that JPA file and the Kickstart file at the root of this website and just run it, and you would have your backup restored locally. Um, then, as I was saying, once you have learned the basics, and you don't need to understand more than what I've shown. I explain more details in the presentation, but you don't need to understand the details. Once you know how it works, it means that if you wanted to test another tool, I don't know, you need to test Drupal for some reason, well, you just go to instead of Joomla, you go to Drupal. Okay, there is exactly the same thing. You just copy paste their compose YAML file, and you can run Drupal on your computer. Or I don't know if it's under N8N. No, it's not N8N. I'll go to the presentation for the right link. Um, but so you could install whatever you like. Other things that you can do once you run Docker is that Aaron Moritz from Switzerland has developed DP Docker. And so it's very useful for Joomla testers or developers because there are different tools within DP Docker. So it's using Docker, obviously. But when you install it, for example, if you want to test a pull request, all you need to do to have a full Joomla website ready to test is to type a command. So if the pull request has the ID 44223, taken from this link on GitHub, okay, you would just type this command. Again, you don't even need to understand the details, but you just adapt the PR number here. And if you wanted to test with PHP 8.4, you adapt 8.4. If it's MySQL or MariaDB, you would adapt it there. And you just, in one command line, you have your customized environment with the PR, which is ready to test. And then you have a direct link to test this PR/PR/ the number, etc. I was saying, for example, automation with N8N that you can install locally. Yeah, in practice, I'm giving it. I don't want to go into the detail of that, but everything is written there, so it's very easy to run N8N and then to stop it if you like. And once you have finished playing with it, if you want to remove the volume, there is a command that you can type and everything. One other very funny thing is that you can even run Windows or Mac OS with Docker. So let's try that. On my computer, I think I still have the folder. Um, yeah, Windows 11. I have the compose YAML file here. And where did I find it? Actually, you just go and look for Docker written like this. Windows, or it's in the presentation itself. Um, so there is a website. I open it. Yeah, Docker Windows. So it's the same story. You can read for more details, but you just copy paste this little compose YAML file. So let's see what it gives. I go back to my folder. No, it's not this. Sorry. I go back to my folder. I want to open this folder in my terminal. I am indeed in the Windows 11 folder. Now, if I type sudo docker compose up detach, my password, which is my finger in this case. Okay, it has started. I've not done it for a long time, so I hope it will work fine, because with live demos, you should always test. Yeah, and then I've taken my own notes just to remember, but it's explained on the official page. The port is 8006, so let's go and check that. If I open this on this port, yes, I have a fresh Windows. And the same for Mac OS. And you would think, if you're using Ubuntu Linux, why on earth would you like to run Windows? Well, for example, I'm using Affinity Photo because I have a lifetime license, even if now it has become free. But it's not running on Linux. It's only on Mac or Windows. So here, if I want to run Affinity Photo, well, I have an environment. Another use case is that I was migrating my emails and to export my emails from Outlook to a standard format. I had to install Outlook, which of course does not exist for Linux. So yeah, I just did it like this. Or the example with macOS is like sometimes I have not every month, but every 6 months, I have end users saying, "Hey, on my website, I'm using Safari. Yeah, I don't have a Mac computer, so you can't test Safari properly on. Even if sometimes there is an old Safari version for Windows, whatever. Actually, here with the same command, I can run macOS directly on my computer and open a real native Safari on whichever macOS version that I have selected. So that's also very handy. Here I'm seeing my Windows 11 from the browser, but of course you could also it's in my own notes. Notes. I think it's on the presentation as well. You can also configure ThinkCast remote desktop client, so you can install an app to take control of Windows, so that you're not in the browser. You're really connecting to Windows via a client. With this, I think that we have covered a lot. And if okay, if you already used Docker, maybe it was easy. If you've never used it, maybe it was too fast. It's difficult to have an average level and speed, but everything is explained step by step in the presentation itself. Just pick the example that you need and you copy paste it and you run the little command in one line, Docker compose up detach, and you're good to go. So that's it for me. And if you have any questions, please feel free to shoot. So thank you. Maybe I should stop sharing. Yeah. And yeah, I was thinking it was on, but turn off camera, turn on camera. Is it not on? Ah, maybe you have to switch the view because you are showing my computer because my camera is on. It does not matter. You don't see my face. You will see me next time. Next time I go in person to Joomla Day DACH. No questions. So thank you for being there, and again, a huge thank you to all the organizers. Have fun during the Joomla Day DACH.